What's up, guys? This is CG with Politics Mob. Let's go.
Ask what you can do for your country.
And always will be the United States of America.
We're going to build the wall.
Tear down this wall.
So earlier this week, Bill Cosby was sentenced to prison for sexual assault.
He's going to have to serve at least 3 years in prison, not a day less. At that point, he might be eligible for release.
Since then, the internet has exploded with accusations of this being racist, or at least a large portion of the internet has. Sorry, this has nothing to do with race or racism. Bill Cosby's just an asshole and got what he deserved. Let's break it down though. Right, so back in 2004, Bill Cosby raped and drugged a woman. She reported it in 2005, a year later. And guess what police did? They decided not to press charges. Why didn't they press charges? Because they're racist. You hear how that sounds, right? The reason why they didn't press charges is because Bill Cosby is a rich, famous, and powerful man. It took 10 years for this case to be taken seriously, and that was only after dozens of women realized that this was a problem for not just them, but for dozens of women, and they started to step forward and say, hey, you know what? This rich, powerful, famous man raped me too. Where is the racism in that? No, I get it. Stop me if you've heard this before. But Chris, if he was white, he would have got away with it. If he was white, they wouldn't have brought charges in the first place. If he was white, this would have got treated like that asshole Brock Turner. Okay, first of all, fuck Brock Turner. Second of all, there is a huge problem with that logic. Like I just mentioned, Bill Cosby was not charged initially. A woman went to the police, said, hey, dude raped me, and they didn't take her seriously. That's not racist. That's not a bias in the criminal justice system. Now, I'm not talking about racial bias in the criminal justice system. That's another discussion. I'm saying it doesn't exist in this case. Second of all, when charges were brought the first time, and Bill Cosby did have his day in court, it was a hung jury. Hung juries aren't racist. So is that racism? Or is that special treatment for a rich, powerful, famous man? Nah, you're wrong, bro. You're wrong, bro. Chris, what about all those creepy ass white dudes? No charges have been brought up against them. Okay, let's talk about it. Because I've been on the internet the last week and it's been driving me insane because I've seen political cartoons like this one. I'm gonna pause the video right here so you can just take a look at the men on this list really fast. Nearly everyone on that list has been accused of sexual harassment, not sexual assault. People like Harvey Weinstein's creepy ass have definitely used their power and influence to force themselves on women. I wouldn't quite call it rape. It's definitely gross. It's definitely sexual harassment. It's definitely an abuse of power. Here's the thing though. There is a huge difference between sexual assault, rape, and sexual harassment. Everyone on that list is a piece of shit. Let's make that clear. But all pieces of shit are not created equal, right? The only equal comparison is probably Roman Polanski, who definitely is guilty of statutory rape, but he left the country in the 1970s specifically to avoid the criminal justice system that would have come down hard on him for having sex with a teenager. So that's fair. Next up, you might point out to Woody Allen, he's definitely gross for marrying his once adopted daughter, but it's not illegal. Everyone else on the list is just a sexual harassing asshole. So I don't see the comparison, sorry. If anything, this political cartoon that I came across is much more applicable. Because this is the problem. This is the actual problem. It's not race and racism. It's the way that this country views and handles the victims of sexual assault. Why did it take you 30 years to come forward? How come you didn't report it? Why were you wearing that slutty outfit? You asked for it. All that bullshit. That's the problem. It's the way that we look at sexual assault in this country. We always, whether we do it consciously or not, find a way to blame the victim. It's her fault for not stepping forward soon enough. It's her fault for not doing anything in the first place. Why are they coming out of the woodwork? For money? These women don't get paid shit unless they win something in a court case. The rest of the Cosby women that just said me too, they didn't get anything for that. There's no benefit for them to stepping forward into the public eye, putting a face in the public eye so that everyone can look at them and identify them as a victim of sexual assault, there's no benefit in that other than hoping that the person that assaulted you gets what they deserve. So I'm happy for those women. I don't give a shit about Bill Cosby. People are hung up on who Bill Cosby was to them. Maybe you grew up watching The Cosby Show. Maybe you are one of the beneficiaries of the millions of dollars that he's donated to institutions across this country, helping disease, sending kids to college, all those noble things that he did. Maybe you're hung up on that. I get it. But here's the problem with that logic. If I donate, I don't have $1 million, but if I donate $1 million to homeless veterans and then 10 years later murder somebody in cold blood, do you know what I am? I'm a murderer. Well, either that or I'm Jesus Christ.
They persecuted Jesus, and look what happened. Not saying Mr. Cosby is Jesus, but we know what this country has done to black men for centuries.
Full stop. According to RAINN, the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, 93 out of 100 sexual assaults do not get reported. That is the problem here. Don't blame these women for stepping forward when they finally got the courage, due to other women stepping forward before them, to speak up. Blame Bill Cosby. He's an asshole. There's no defense here. I don't care what else he did in life. You gotta draw the line somewhere. We all make mistakes, granted, and we all should not be held back by the mistakes we've made in our past. But some things are unforgivable, right? He didn't cheat on his wife. He didn't get fired from a job from stealing or some other bullshit that we can just be like, troubled times. Who knew what he was up to? He was a serial rapist and abuser. Period. The tears for this man, the sympathy for this dude, I just can't understand it. I can't understand it. That's where I'm at. When I think about this case, I don't think about Bill Cosby. This is what I think about.
Did you ever think that this day was going to come?
I dreamt of this day for 32 years. And I turned 50. It's the best birthday present ever.
You are a sinful and disgusting human being, and until your death, you deserve every bit of suffering that jail time and prison might bring to you.
This is where I'm going to leave this one. Bill Cosby did not get accused, convicted, and then sentenced for sexual assault because he's black. Bill Cosby got accused, convicted, and then sentenced for sexual assault because it's about goddamn time that we started punishing these crimes appropriately, and he just so happens to be black.